So, I am getting this beautiful rack of ribs. It's baby back ribs and it weighs 3.18 pounds. This is going to be a few day process, and obviously if you recognize this shirt, I was tasting my beets today. So this is what day that's on. It is Thursday, and I plan on cooking these ribs out on the grill this weekend. That'll be a nice treat for being out in the garden, or possibly over the fire pit out in the garden, but we don't have a rack or anything for that yet. I told Ryan, like, I'd really like one of those, like, grated grates. Can't think of a better word. To set over the top of the fire ring. Just something simple like that, framed. That way we could just set our stainless steel cookware on top of there. And I do have cast iron skillets, but they're still in my parents' camper from last year. So, yeah. But that would be a great idea, too. That's what I'm hoping to do, getting accomplished. But we got stuff going on right now. Ryan's working on his friends' vehicles, and obviously I've got the kids and the garden and laundry and household duties and all those beautiful things. Plus I do YouTube, obviously. So we'll see if that works out or if it becomes more of a thing to do in the fall. But that's what I would like to do. We've talked about cooking over the fire to save energy, save on bills and whatever. But I got the oven preheated for 350, and I've just got these obviously the pork ribs quartered. I set that off somewhere not so disgusting. Well, that'll work. I'll just clean that up when I'm done. So they say to wrap the ribs in foil, and I think I'm going to try to make 2 foil packs of ribs. Let's see how many I can fit in here. I don't think that was big enough. That just might be one on its own, and I'll put a bigger piece in there. This one. Don't worry, my hands are already washed. And I keep my hands clean when I cook. I just don't always show it in YouTube because who wants to sit there and watch on camera somebody wash their hands? I usually edit that part out. Oh man, that's not going to work like that. I might have a different idea. This. Okay, that works. And there is some juices down at the bottom of this pan. I'm not concerned about it at all. We'll just cook underneath the ribs. And I feel like I may as well just go ahead and wrap these all individually. That way they all turn out consistent. I have never cooked ribs this way. I just didn't want to... I've never nailed down a good way to really make ribs, and if you've ever been to Wings, etc., hold on, I guess I could do this a bit different. I could show you how I'm wrapping them. If you've ever been to Wings, etc., their ribs, actually, you could cut with a butter knife. Oh my gosh, they're delicious, and they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, I got a half rack meal for like $11, and it's to die for. So, well, I wouldn't die for those ribs, but they're super delicious. Basically, like I'm folding them up like I would a foil pack of vegetables to put on the grill. Except I'm putting ribs in the oven. Yeah, I was looking up recipes for good marinated ribs, and I've seen like several ideas about baking them and then taking them out and letting them marinate in bags in the refrigerator for a day or two, and then slapping them on the grill to finish out. So that's what I plan on doing. Not sure how it's going to turn out. I wish I had beer to pre-marinate these in before I stuck them in the oven, but I do not have beer right now. So we're we're just going to go ahead and try it this way. None of the recipes I read anyway called for beer, but I like the way beer tenderizes meat a lot. Okay, so those are done. Let me set that off to the side, and we're going to... Yeah, I really got to find a good cleaner for this stove, but trust me, it's clean to the best of my ability. But I'm going to go ahead and let this oven get up to temperature, and I'll be back. All right, so the oven just let me know that it is up to 350 degrees, and now I am going to put this into the oven for an hour and a half. Now, I guess I don't need a oven mitt yet, huh? Try to hold a phone and a cookie sheet. Oh, look, I am that good I didn't burn myself. Real quick, before my blonde ditziness forgets, I'm good at forgetting, okay, about the membrane on the ribs. We don't mind the membrane being on the ribs. Now, my favorite way of just being lazy and cooking ribs is honestly just chucking them in the crock pot and then like draining some of the fat out as they're cooking down and then adding barbecue sauce. They turn out amazing. But about the membrane, yeah, some people are funny about that. We don't really notice it on there. Now, I've tried taking it off before when I started getting into cooking ribs, and I find it difficult. Nobody's actually ever shown me a really good way to do it, so I just leave it on there. But that's honestly personal preference to you. It's not going to hurt anything to leave it on there. It's totally edible. So that's just what we do. Lila's over there just like geeking out, asking for attention, and being really playful. Look at her. What? Anyway, while I'm thinking about it, go down there and hit that like button. You know, that one, wherever it's at. Yeah. It costs you nothing, and it helps me out. Now it's time to get the ribs out of the oven, and I'm sorry the dishwasher is going, so that's what you're hearing in the background. I mean, I do work and have a life, so we live here. All right, it's out. Now I'm going to let that rest for the time being. Probably let rest, blah, 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 10 to 15 minutes, and then I will unpackage it. So it's the next day. I just got off work and I'm home. I took the ribs out of the refrigerator. I mean, my shirt color is still the same, but it is a different shirt, I promise. I mean, it slightly is a different color. It's more orangey, I think. Anyway, enough about the shirt. So I did take the ribs out of the refrigerator. This morning before I went to work, I flipped them over in the refrigerator and gave them a massage. I'm going to massage them again because it seems like some sides... this side isn't as marinated as the other side, but I'm thinking that's going to be okay. I do have those silicone baster brushes that I can get the juice out of inside this bag and slather it on the actual ribs, and I just think having marinade on there alone is going to be better than none. I am going to be making some of these green beans out of the garden. Now I got 3 different varieties in there. I got Kentucky Wonder, Dragon Tongue Bush, and Purple Potted Teepee. After I froze the Dragon Tongue Bush beans, they're looking more of a pale green instead of streaky like they were, but trust me, they're Dragon Tongue. What are we barking at? What? You want to go outside, don't you? All right. Well, I'm going to get off here, let her out, and I'll be back later with the cooking part. That's about 1.5 cups of bacon. It's cooked half down. Now I'm going to remove it and add the onions and some butter and saute them. I removed half of the bacon grease in there, and I saved my bacon grease, and then I added 1/4 stick of butter in there. I'm letting it melt down really good. All right, now it's time to add the onyns. We're going to let these caramelize very, very nicely because who doesn't love caramelized onions? This brings out the sweetness. Stir them occasionally, trying to get those brown bits off the bottom. That's the flavor, that's the good stuff. All right, they're nice and cooked down, so now it's time to add the green beans. And a little bit of white vinegar, maybe about 2 teaspoons, 2 tablespoons. Yeah, just about 2 tablespoons. That wasn't quite 2 tablespoons. There we go. Now I'm going to try to deglaze the bottom of this pan, which I should have done this before I added the green beans, but you know. So the acid from the vinegar or lemon juice or whatever you put in there, like wine, it'll help deglaze those brown bits. That's called, I believe it's called the fond, is the technical word for, the culinary term for the brown bits at the bottom of your pans or baking dishes. I increased my heat to medium. I started off with the bacon at like a third of the way up for the power on this, and then I sauteed the onions with the same power on it, and then I obviously added the green beans and vinegar, so now I have it to half power. I'm going to put a lid on it, let it cook down for a bit. We're going to sprinkle a little salt. This is pink Himalayan salt with some black pepper. And now I have the lid tilted, that way the beans can still cook pretty evenly, but I'm still letting a lot of that moisture out, because nobody really wants soggy green beans, so I'm trying to eliminate that and get all the flavors together, and it'll turn out beautiful. Now I'm going to add the bacon back in. All that grease too. Stir it around. I turned that heat down back to a quarter of the way, and I'm going to stick the lid fully on this time because there's not a lot of liquid left in there, and we're going to let that marinate together, the bacon. Let the bacon finish cooking, and then the beans will be done. The grill is heating up. Alright, the ribs are on and cooking. They look great. So as I'm turning these, they're very tender. Look at the bones falling out of them. This... Ooh, this is an incredible. I might have nailed down a great way to cook ribs. Gosh, look at that. Now it's time to look at the magical stuff happening here.
Oh, this guy's got my car on
their video. These ribs are falling off the bone, Ron. Plated, and that is some super tender ribs, just so you know. Look at this. Excellent.